You wouldn't believe the amount of Fortnite updates that release and immediately just disappear to never be seen again because Epic decided, well, they didn't like the item. Remember the Mythic Mushroom? Yeah, it actually did exist, and if you didn't use it in the few days it was available, you'll probably never be able to use it again. These are the 10 rarest Fortnite items only 1% of players have used. Make sure to smash a like and use code T5G in the Fortnite Item Shop, but obviously starting off, we gotta talk about number 10, the Mythic Mushroom. So back in Chapter 2 Season 3, we didn't exactly get much in the way of exciting fresh content, but there were a couple exceptions. Secretly, without telling anyone, Epic Games added a mysterious item into the game one day for us to find. We eventually found out that this was the Mythic Mushroom, also known as the Golden Mushroom. This had an extremely low chance of spawning in the wild during a match, with odds as low as 1 in 10,000. Yeah, that's a 0.01% chance of finding this thing, which is insanely low. Although, the low chances were the reason this thing gave you a high reward, and that was 100 shield instantly. Because this was a mushroom, you could eat it in just a second and get an entire bar of shield. Sounds pretty OP, right? Well, don't worry, because only a tiny amount of players have ever used it, and they're probably never going to be able to use it again. And the same goes for our next item at number 9, which is the Axe of Champions. There's nothing more insane right now than winning the FNCS, aka the Fortnite Championship Series. But for a while, winning it would get you some cash, sure, but that was it. You just feel like you won some cash, not one of the biggest Fortnite tournaments out there. So to fix that, Epic added the Axe of Champions. This is probably the most exclusive pickaxe of all time, and there's a reason. Not only is this pickaxe only made for winners of FNCS, but it's only for the most recent winners. Basically, that means if you win the tournament, you get these pickaxes to use, but once the next tournament happens and there's a new winner declared, well, the Axe of Champions is taken away from you. Yeah, it's really that exclusive. It was also only added in Chapter 2 Season 2, which means barely anyone has had the chance to use this thing. But now it's time for number 8, the Machine Pistol. The machine pistol was never intended to be a weapon that anyone could actually use, at least it seems that way. Back in Chapter 1, it was leaked as an upcoming mini Uzi, but it just never released. We all lost hope of it ever coming into the game until Season X. During an LTM that was available for the season, the machine pistol randomly appeared in the loot pool, and just like that, we were able to use it like any other gun until it got vaulted a day later. And that seemed to be the end of the machine pistol until just last week when Epic accidentally added it into the loot pool of the unvaulted LTM. Of course, they quickly removed it like the first time, so not many people have been able to use this thing. But I gotta ask, did you try it out while you had the chance? Let us know in the comments below. But now coming in at number 7, we have the secret default dance. When Fortnite first came out, it was just amazing. I think we all missed the days of old Fortnite, and it had a ton of things that we'll never see again, like friendly fire or good matchmaking, but there was one item that a lot of people have forgotten even existed, and it was something that every single player had for free. I'm talking about the default dance, and I know we still have the default dance in game to this day, but we only have 2 versions. Back then, there was actually a third dance that could play when you did the emote. Check it out. And yeah, unfortunately, Epic removed this dance just a few weeks after Fortnite came out for a reason that we don't know. If you were lucky enough like me to play Fortnite in its first couple of weeks, you probably used this dance. It was pretty cool. Anyways, moving on, let's talk about number 6, which is the Mythic Goldfish. Similar to the Golden Mushroom, the Mythic Goldfish is one of the rarest items you could find in Fortnite to this day. But unlike the other things on this list, the Mythic Goldfish is actually still in game right now, except the chances of finding one are incredibly low. It's a trophy of a golden flopper, and instead of eating it, you use it as a weapon. It deals 200 damage to anyone you throw it at, killing them instantly. So technically speaking, it is the most powerful item in the game as long as you have the aim to back it up, and kind of the luck. If you want to find this guy in the actual game and not like a random LTM, well, you're gonna have to defy the odds. And by odds, I mean a literal 0.001% chance of catching him. To put it simply, that's a 1 in a million chance, literally. So, like I said, not many people have actually used the Mythic Goldfish in Battle Royale. But if you play creative on the other hand, you probably use this thing. It's in a lot of creative islands, but you can't cheat your way into getting this next item. Coming in at number 5, we have the Golden Umbrella. The Golden Umbrella is one of the rarest and most exclusive gliders in the history of Fortnite. It was available in a single tournament in the early days of Fortnite and wasn't even something given out to people. Let me explain. During tournaments, pro players get an entire locker of randomly selected cosmetics so people can't cheat or know who they're fighting. But because they're playing on computers supplied by Epic, some of the cosmetics that they get randomly are actually unreleased. In an early tournament for Fortnite, we saw quite a lot of pros using a secret golden umbrella while gliding, and we all assumed this was an upcoming item, but after the tournament ended, we never saw this thing again. So yeah, only the people that were part of this tourney got to use it, and no one else will probably ever get their hands on it again. It's pretty crazy to think, but it's not as iconic as number 4. Obviously, we have to talk about the Zapatron. The Zapatron was a legendary sniper rifle that was added to Fortnite on day 1 of Battle Royale. You could charge up the gun and fire bolts of energy at people, kind of like an OP charged shotgun, except this was a sniper rifle, and instead of heavy bullets, it used a different kind of ammo altogether. This is the only item in Battle Royale history to use energy ammo, and it might be the last. It depends on what Epic has in store. Unfortunately though, despite the fact that you could only get these things in supply drops, it still ended up being insanely overpowered. Well, it would be considered overpowered if it was still in the game for a little longer, except Epic removed it just a few days after it was added. Because of how early in the game this was, and it was locked to supply drops, almost nobody got the Zapatron. It's really hard to find authentic gameplay nowadays. And speaking of things you probably didn't know existed, we've got to talk about number 3, which is the Mushroom Buddy. But the Mushroom was a very secret feature that was added to Fortnite in the last week of Chapter 2, Season 2. Over at Weeping Woods, you could find this guy chilling in the ground. If you fed him some wood and then danced with him, he'd leave his spot and begin to follow you around. Although, he had a super low chance of spawning, and even then not many people knew he was even in the game. He'd follow you around for a whole match and heal you up constantly, except he was only in Fortnite for a single day. After that, he was removed and Season 3 began. We never seen him again, and barely anyone got to use the little guy. I have no idea why he was only in game for a day though. He could have either been a test for Epic to see if he'd be like overpowered or not, or maybe just a simple accident. It happens a lot. It's kind of like our second to last item. Obviously, we got to talk about the Eye of the Storm backpack. Alright, if you thought that Bud the Mushroom being in the game for just one day was short, well, wait for this one. Let me introduce you to the Eye of the Storm backpack. This is the fastest item to ever be added and removed from Fortnite because the Eye of the Storm tracker was in the game for just 30 minutes and that's it. This was basically a backpack item that you could equip and it will allow you to see where the storm was going next. It was a secret item that Epic was working on until an employee accidentally made it live in public lobbies. But of course, Epic very quickly realized its mistake and rushed to remove it from the game. We never saw it again, although the Eye of the Storm concept was reworked into a weapon. You know and love it, the Storm Scout Sniper Rifle. But just before our number 1 entry, let's quickly touch upon OG traps. In the first few weeks of Fortnite, not only did we have the Zapatron and a secret default dance, but the game had a ton of OG traps that, well, didn't survive very long. For example, there was a directional jump pad, which seemed to be an early prototype of the bouncers. Then there were 2 electric powered traps that only existed for a week or so. If you're a super OG, you've used these things, but 99% of players just haven't. In fact, a lot of them might not even know they existed in the first place. And that brings us to our final spot, which is number 1, boomboxes and airstrikes. These 2 items are popular for being extremely destructive in Fortnite, and while they did different things, they had one huge thing in common. Both the boomboxes and the airstrikes were added in an update, and then they were removed in the very next patch. They were some of the fastest vaulted items out there, and not a lot of people got to use them for long. The boomboxes could just decimate builds in seconds and were indestructible once you threw them down. Let me tell you, people absolutely did not like these things, although the noobs that couldn't build loved them, including me. Then the airstrikes just rained explosives on any place you marked, so obviously Epic got rid of those as well. But that's all we have for our list of items that only 0.01% of players have used. Make sure to click on screen to check out our next video. Obviously, this has been Tommy, and you're watching Top 5 Gaming.